Proverbs may initially seem like a jumble of wise sayings, dozens and dozens of them, with no particular order. But in fact, Bible scholars say that Proverbs divides into 6 sections. Want to know more? Then stick around. As we talked about in the first video in this series, Proverbs is a collection. Its authors are numerous and some are unknown. So unlike some other books of the Bible, Proverbs doesn't exactly break down neatly, but it's still organized into relatively distinct sections, each with its own character. The first section of Proverbs is chapters 1 through 9. Many scholars have referred to this section as a prologue to the subject of the instruction of wisdom. What you'll notice about this first section is that it contains longer narratives on the subject of wisdom. Some parts are almost written like morality tales. The recurring theme of this section appears in Proverbs 1, verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. In the second section of Proverbs, which runs from chapter 10 through chapter 22, verse 16, you will find a collection of one-line proverbs. One of the trademarks of these proverbs, besides how short they are, is that each one contains a contrast, a matching positive and negative. For example, Proverbs 11, verse 5 says, "The righteousness of the blameless keeps their ways straight, but the wicked fall by their own wickedness." Innocence is set against wickedness. A straight way is set against the wicked man's way. This parallelism is consistent across the entire section. While the second section of Proverbs is the longest collection, the third section is quite short. It begins with the phrase, "Bend your ear and hear the words of the wise." Think of section 3 as sort of the international section of Proverbs. Scholars believe that much of this section, which runs less than 2 chapters, comes from an ancient Egyptian text whose wise sayings have been partially adapted. Section 4 is even shorter, just 11 verses. It begins with Proverbs 24, verse 23, the line that says, "These two are from the wise." Some scholars wonder if the next 11 verses are a fragment of yet another text which was included by whoever compiled the book of Proverbs. The Proverbs in section 5, chapters 25 through 29, stand out because of their emphasis on kings and how you should behave in a king's presence. Check out Proverbs 29, for example, which contains passages like, "The king establishes the land by justice, but he who receives bribes overthrows it." And, "The king who judges the poor with truth, his throne will be established forever." Finally, the 6th section of Proverbs, chapters 30 and 31, has been called a collection of 4 appendices by some scholars. Each appendix has a totally different style, ranging from the first, which puts forward the idea that God alone possesses wisdom, to the last, which is an acrostic poem celebrating the ideal wife. In spite of their differences, what unites all of these sections is their focus on teaching wisdom to the reader. And the great thing about the individuality of each section, of course, is that in the book of Proverbs, there's a little something for everyone.